Have you heard of critical race theory, or CRT as it's often referred, where a race lens is applied to every discipline, to every law, to every intersection within society? Are you in favor or against this theory? Well, hold on, you might be saying. I have never even heard of CRT before today. Why should I care? Well, for one, CRT is highly controversial and has caused much debate south of the border. In September 2020, for example, then US President Donald Trump banned CRT from government agencies. In November 2021, Virginia's gubernatorial race seems to have been decided by parents who called for an end to the teaching of CRT in their kids' classrooms. Well, that's the US. What about Canada? Well, CRT is here as well and may very well be influencing your workplace policies and even your child's education. In Ontario, for example, several school boards have released equity lesson plans developed from intersectionality theories, including critical race theory, and sometimes segregating students into privilege and oppression hierarchies. I've even personally heard stories of children in Ontario classrooms being taught that 2 plus 2 can sometimes equal 5 because 2 plus 2 equaling 4, well, that could just be their binary truth and part of their white Eurocentric patriarchy. And now, to further entrench CRT, the NDP opposition in Ontario has introduced Bill 67, Racial Equity in the Education System Act, which will enshrine CRT in education. And with barely any opposition, only one MPP voted against it, this bill is sailing to third reading. That's right, even the 4 Conservatives supported this bill. So is CRT a good thing or a bad thing? Is it helping or hurting our children? And does it actually have anything to do with ending racism? Well, joining me now to help unpack it all is Samuel Sey, a Ghanaian-Canadian blogger and speaker from Ontario who has been vocal about his criticism and concerns of critical race theory. Samuel, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a long overdue discussion, but I'm glad to have you on because you have really been prominent in the discussion and raising concerns about critical race theory. So I'm sure you could do a far better job than I did in my intro, but could you please explain to our viewers what is critical race theory?
No, you explained it really, really well.
Oh, really? I think I confused a lot of our viewers with some of the jargon I use there.
No, well, you know what? It's funny you say that because that's actually a good way to describe critical race theory. It uses a lot of words to complexify the issue, and by doing that, they make it hard for people who are not the kind of Ivy League school lawyers to think of it as just being really what it is, racism, right? Because they use words like anti-racist. They're using so many other jargons to hide what they're really saying. So it is very much a confusing, complexifying thing. But really, critical race theory is simply in a very. I will just share one quick description of it, and then I will explain it further. It's simply a race-centric version of Marxism and postmodernism, right? It's really a combination of the two ideologies, which are already very similar, but very much in a race-centric point of view. So what critical race theory is really saying is that it's not just saying, as critical race theorists claim these days, where they just say that, well, it's simply us describing the history of racism in America or Canada. Mm-hmm. That's not what they're saying at all. In fact, they are very much saying that it's not that they're talking about racism being having been there in Canada, a very parts. What they're saying is Canada is irredeemably racist because of our values, because of our principles, because of our systems. Right? There's a book by the founder of critical race theory, whose name is Derek Bell, and he says that racism will never, ever end. And by racism, he means systemic racism, that America will always be racist. And that's because, again, if America continues to be America, as in if they uphold their principles and their values, then they will always be racist. And that's also true for Canada. It's true for every Western nation of critical race theories, including Canada. So our founding principles, our Constitution is racist because in their mind, it was built by white people for white people, right? So that even you mentioned math. So even math, 2 plus 2, you would think, how is that racist? But they say it's racist because in their mind it's developed by white people to manipulate black people into playing within their system. And they would say that the reason why black people are struggling in the schools is because it was built by white people for white people.